Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe here. After thousands of hours as a personal trainer and a kettlebell expert, I'm sharing with you the 20 best kettlebell exercises you can do with a single kettlebell. It's proven and tested in the fire of working with real people in the real world. But before we get started, we have a 50% sale of our 6-week kettlebell challenge. If you're interested, check the first link in the description. Exercise number 1 is the hand-to-hand swing. The most crucial thing about the hand-to-hand swing is working with your hips. So as you pull the kettlebell between your legs, you want to hip thrust the weight upwards and keep your arms relaxed. And at the top of the swing, you're switching sides and you exhale at the top. Exercise number 2 is the clean. The clean is the next iteration of the swing. So you're still using those hip mechanics, but you hip thrust the weight upwards, but now you want to insert your hand inside the window of the kettlebell. And you do this by making sure that the kettlebell points downwards like this, and then you slide inside the window and rack the kettlebell close to your body. Exercise number 3 is the press. The press is a solid staple in kettlebell training, and you can either engage into a strict press where you are having the most resistance while your shoulders and your upper body has to do most of the work, or you can push press the weight upwards by dipping down and then using the power from your legs to catapult the weight overhead. Exercise number 4, one of the kings of the kettlebell exercises, snatch. The snatch is the next iteration of the clean. So you remember this hand insertion from the clean approximately at hip level. Now it happens overhead. So it's the hip thrust mechanics from the swing where the kettlebell comes up. Then I insert the hand inside the window of the kettlebell. Then I corkscrew it, let it drop into the hips and come back up. Exercise number 5 is the windmill. Before you start with the weight, you want to understand a side hinge. So you turn both of your feet to the right side. Now you push your hips to the left side outwards. And now I rotate with my chest towards the front. And I'll anchor my elbow inside my thigh. And then my arm remains overhead. Now we want to understand this movement pattern before we engage with the weight. And once we understand it, we press the kettlebell overhead, side hinge, rotation of the T-spine, anchor your elbow inside your thigh and come back up. Exercise number 6 is the Turkish Get Up. If you'd ask me, the Turkish Get Up is one of the most popular kettlebell flows that exists and also one of the most effective. Now you want to learn the choreography first, and that's what we're going to do. So we start overhead. I like to start like this. You can also start from the bottom, especially if you have a heavier weight. Now I go into a curtsy lunge, open up my hips, I reach for the floor, I look towards the sky, towards the ceiling, or towards the kettlebell. Now I bring my rear leg to the front, down on the hips, down on the elbows. Now I distribute my body weight between my left elbow and my right foot. I go down on my back, and then I relax my arm, press it back up. Now I shift my body weight towards my left elbow. Now I come back up on my hands, hips up. Now I pull my front leg in and I rotate my hips. Now I do this kneeling jerk, boom, where I want to get ready to align myself to stand up from the overhead lunge. And there you go. Exercise number 7, the deadlift. The deadlift is an important exercise because it involves one of those key movements that we need in kettlebell training, the hinge. We can either do a double-handed deadlift, a single-hand deadlift, a hand-to-hand variant where I'm switching hands, or one of my favorites, since the weight is a little bit lighter than what you're used to with a barbell, for example, a hang deadlift, where I want to keep that resistance as long as I can. Exercise number 8, the Goblet Squat, or otherwise known as a simple front squat. You can either grab the kettlebell like this, with your forearms wrapped around the kettlebell, or in a sandwich grip. That's the one that I prefer. And the idea is the following, independent of the grip you use. You want to keep your upper body as upright as possible. Maybe push your knees out so you can open up your hips and allow as much flexion as you can. Go as deep, far down as your hips allow it, because we don't want to limit flexion, we don't want to limit bending. Just work according to your body type. Exercise number 9, highly technical, the jerk. The jerk uses the identical movement patterns like in a push press. We dip, we bump, and then we fall into a second dip. Now, in order for the jerk to work, you want to keep your elbow connected to your body. So press your elbow either down into your iliac crest or your hip, or on your stomach area. And now watch, I'm dipping, I'm bumping, the kettlebell comes up, and right when it lands in the top fixation, I jump under the kettlebell into the second dip, stand up, back down. Exercise number 10, the lunge. The lunge is a powerful exercise to train your ability to run or sprint. So you swing the kettlebell up, grab it in that sandwich grip, and now you take a big step forward in order for you to feel that stretch from the opposite leg in your hips, and then you step back with a lot of tension. So it's stability, a little bit of stretching, and strengthening all at once. Exercise number 11, my favorite and I believe one of the best exercises ever, the clean and press. Now you remember the clean and you remember the press. And now what we're going to do is we put them together. And now I can either engage into a clean and strict press like this, a clean and push press like this, or a clean and jerk like this. Exercise number 12, the row. I like to always do one particular variation of the row, and that is a hang row. Similar to the hang deadlift, I don't want the kettlebell to touch the floor, so I start in the similar pattern like in a deadlift, and then I pull my elbow close to my hips and not to my nips. So keep the elbows close to your body, bring the kettlebell back down. Now don't slouch, don't let it hang, but keep that tension. And now the kettlebell doesn't touch the floor, I feel the tension right here, and then I pull it back up. Exercise number 13, the halo. Now I have to be honest, I don't use the halo that often with our clients in practice because of various reasons like limited shoulder mobility and limited strength. I rather do a press to improve mobility and strength in the shoulder. However, it can still be a great exercise if you have the adequate mobility and strength in the shoulder. So watch like this. I bring the kettlebell up like this, grab it by the horns, the bottom is looking upwards. Now I'll rotate the kettlebell around my head, I make a big circle. And I can do it, of course, both sides. And make sure you really make a big circle so you don't bang your head with the halo. Exercise number 14, bottom ups. Bottom up cleans and presses are awesome if you need a bigger challenge if you don't have heavier weights. However, one of its best applications is the bottom up suitcase walk. Because according to Dr. Stuart McGill, this exercise can really improve your back pain. So give it a shot. Exercise number 15, pistols. I threw the pistol squat in for fun because it's actually one of the biggest challenges and one of the exercises that we rarely, if ever, use with our clients. However, it can still pose a decent challenge if you are strong enough. Now you might be thinking, hey, I can't even do a pistol without the weight. Now depending on your body type, it may be that you are able to do a pistol squat with the weight even though it's harder on your legs because you have this added leverage. So in my case, a pistol squat with added leverage works way better for me. Exercise number 16, circular cleans. The circular clean is another one of those exercises that I wasn't really fond of. However, if you break it down into 3 components, it works way better. So it's 1, 2, 3. So it's the circle, the hand insertion, the rack position. On a side note, circular cleans can really spice up your training because we work in a movement plane, the frontal plane, that we are not really used to in kettlebell training. Exercise number 17, the dreaded overhead squat. If I remember it correctly, Ray Cook from Functional Movement Systems said that the overhead squat is an expression of how well your upper body communicates with your lower body. So first of all, you want to make sure your hand is inside the window of the kettlebell. Your press is solid that you can rest over here. If you already have challenges, the overhead squat will be a challenge even more. Then you make sure you have a wider than shoulder width stance, point your toes out, and now you squat down. Keep your upper body straight and the arm extended. This requires mobility, strength, and technique. Number 18, carry variations. Simple and yet very effective. Suitcase variations, clean variations, and overhead variations, otherwise known as the waiter's walk. And then you can still spice it up with double kettlebells. Don't let the simplicity of this exercise fool you. There's a lot of benefits inside carry exercises. Exercise number 19, the elevated push-up. Now, I would go as far as to say that push-ups need to be a staple in kettlebell workouts because then you can train your chest from its perfect angle. Now, with the elevated push-up, you just have one hand elevated on the kettlebell, which gives you a greater stretch on the working side. And here's the conclusion of the 20 best single kettlebell exercises you can do. Number 20, the half snatch. Fun fact, according to Sergei Rudnev, which I was blessed to have a conversation with, the half snatch was part of the older system of kettlebell sport competitions in Russia. Now the half snatch works like this, similar to the normal snatch. I bring the kettlebell up inside the top fixation, but then I rack it back in the rack position. Here's the next thing that you have to do. Clean and press that like button, consider subscribing, share with a friend who's also interested in kettlebells, and then check the first link in the description for your 50% discount for our 6-week kettlebell challenge. If you want to get in shape with kettlebell training and with a little bit of tweaking with your nutrition, consider checking out the 6-week kettlebell challenge right now. First link in the description.